Welcome to Brief History Conspiracy.
This week, 9/11, the Pentagon.
Okay, so if you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really just helps out. So the Pentagon was built in 1941. It was built like a bomb shelter. This is a seriously tough building. All right, it's concrete reinforced. It was built at a time when steel was rationed, so it is a tough building and much stronger than the Twin Towers.
Yeah, and in terms of its structural integrity as well, being 5 stories high, it's nowhere near got the weight load above to collapse in on anything. So I'd have been very surprised if that building had demolished.
Sections of it did collapse.
Yeah,
but I mean, the section of it on the outer ring did collapse, but it was not. You see a lot of this stuff about like the size of the hole wasn't big enough, and I think that's a bit of a red herring. Yeah,
I possibly tend to agree. It's difficult because it's such a reinforced building.
Yeah. And there's one about how some of the windows weren't broken. But these were bomb-resistant, blast-resistant windows. So you can't really be massively surprised that when there was a blast, they survived.
No, not when they've been designed specifically to.
They did what they were supposed to do.
That, yeah.
So there are some stuff with this that you'll see on the conspiracy websites and the conspiracy things that are a bit. If you really think about it, they're maybe not as convincing as you'd think. But there is some stuff that is more convincing. So, on September 11th, a 757 flown or piloted by Hani Hanjour flew into the Pentagon. Right? So if we go through what happened actually on the day. So, it flew, was taken over, the Twin Towers had already collapsed. This plane flew towards the Pentagon. It did this amazing 330-degree spiral, plummeting
2,200 feet.
Yeah. Within 5 miles of the thing.
It 5? Was it started several the maneuver. Miles from target.
Within 5 miles of the Pentagon, it started this maneuver. And then at full speed, 530 miles an hour, slammed into the Pentagon. Right? And this is a plane that flies like a pig. And but he hit exactly where we needed to go. And when we go into the money, follow the money episodes, he hit exactly where he wanted to hit. So
it's strange that, isn't it? The hit the was it the account and bookkeeping section in the outer ring that was recently renovated.
Yep.
Another
well, there was only about a third of the people there that should have been there, and basically, we talk about Hani Hanjour, though, right?
Yep. He was trained, wasn't he? Pilot. Yeah.
Well, a lot of conspiracy websites say he wasn't a pilot. This is impossible, but that's not really true. It's not quite
true. He did some pilot training, didn't he? In America, I believe.
Yeah. He was certified in 1999 to fly multi-engine jets, but that's not as simple as that. His certification is a little dodgy. He got basically a private pilot to get them certified, and then that was on that certification he was able to get into the Pan Am flight school, but that way of doing it now has been shut down because they basically said the guy that flew with him only flew with him for like a couple of flights and then certified him. He was described as having shoddy skills and worse English. He was described by the Pan Am in Phoenix flight instructors as being a safety hazard. He was told after the first part of the training, you will not be progressing to the second part of the training. To say the least, this chap was not a pilot.
No.
He did pay off his own back to carry on doing flight simulator training on the 737 flight simulator. And they actually said to him, he seemed like a perfectly nice chap. We kept telling him he was wasting his money, but... So he did some hours on the flight simulator. I'd love to see the data from that. Because you keep flying into the frickin' ground. What's wrong with you, mate? He goes, oh, you're not very good. I've had an argument, though, with a bloke, and he basically said you don't have to be a pilot to fly a plane into the ground. I have a word for that, but I can't say it on YouTube without getting in trouble. It's just nonsense. It's utter crap, to be honest.
I don't know, I imagine it is relatively easy with no skills to just dive the nose down.
Crashing a plane into the ground requires no effort at all.
Crashing the plane into a building whilst flying at almost ground level in order to impact a specific section of the outer ring of a 5-storey building after performing a 330-degree corkscrew descending 2,200 feet at maximum velocity.
Even hitting the Pentagon at that speed is a feat. Never mind hitting a specific area. You just hitting the damn building would be impressive.
But if you're out on that corkscrew slightly,
you miss completely.
You miss completely.
Mate. Or you go into the ground 200 metres short
or you skim the top of the building, or you miss it entirely and crash into the ground next to it. Like the level of skilled pilot ability to perform that manoeuvre.
There have been pilots come out and said that 90% of trained pilots couldn't pull this off.
No.
I have a friend who was a pilot, and my father-in-law who was a pilot, who have both said there is no chance that somebody poorly trained did this. Now, the way it was explained to me, basically, was the flight systems on a modern commercial jet would help you with the Twin Towers. They will help you fly in a straight line. They will help you to get to with your thrust and everything. They'll help you fly into a building. The same systems that would allow a pilot with minimum training to fly into the Twin Towers, though, are the same systems that would stop you doing this. They would stop you flying into the Pentagon. They will not allow you to fly towards the ground where there isn't a runway. Most of these aircraft, they land the plane nowadays. The pilot barely does anything. Yeah, but they know where you are.
He's more of a what's the word? A backup to the pilot. He's a backup to the automated systems. I mean, they're involved in
the right buttons, really.
Involved in landing and takeoff to a certain extent.
Not as much as you'd think.
Not as much as they used to be. Yeah, I was going to say that.
There are flight systems that do that because they're far quicker at adjusting for crosswinds. The computers can do it far quicker than a pilot can. But again, because of the GPS, they won't let you fly towards the ground where there isn't a runway. The plane won't let you do it. It'll correct and you just fly you in a straight line until it does until you try to do. So those systems would have to have been turned off.
Yes. So just standard safety procedures, isn't it, for passenger planes? Which I imagine there's sort of. Is there an alarm that probably goes off when you get within 1,000 or a couple of thousand feet of the ground level? Yeah, you're not near an airport.
You've got ground things. Well, you've got those warnings go off anyway. But if the flight control systems are turned off, the flight assist systems are turned off, then the alarms will still go off that you're flying towards the ground. But the terrorists will ignore that. But my point is, if the flight control assistance systems are turned off, the plane wouldn't let you do it. You'd do that on the yoke and nothing would happen because the plane would go, I'm not doing that, I'm going to crash if I do that, I'm not doing it. These things are
clever.
They're clever systems. So those systems have been turned off. So in which case, he did this manually. He did this 330-degree spiral within 5 miles of the Pentagon. He started this manoeuvre and he did it manually.
Descended that last couple of thousand feet down to ground level.
Clipped 5 lampposts. He scraped the wing, clipped the ground. He clipped a generator. He clipped a low wall, and still managed to keep this aircraft high enough in the air long enough to hit his target. He should have gone into the ground and rolled like a big fireball. Yeah, and you just had singed on the wall. He shouldn't have been able to do it. Also, there's a thing called cushion effect.
Right. Yes.
And when a big plane comes towards the ground, because I mean the air is like if you think of it more like a thin water rather than air. If you sort of push down on air quickly enough, you will get a push back because the air compresses. So a large plane, when it comes down like that, the air gets compressed and it actually does push back a little bit. Yeah. I only talk about water as a way of imagining it, maybe. So pilots know about that. Hani Hanjour might have known about that. But he did this at full thrust and full speed. The cushion effect would have been quite significant.
Yes. Okay,
we all know that planes slow down when they're coming in to land. They're only doing about 100, 120 miles an hour when they come in to land. The cushion effect is much less dense, and even then you have seen pilots back in the day before these safety systems were put in place miss runways.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the cushion effect.
Yes, that happens a lot, especially on some of these remote islands with short runways. Sometimes they have to take 2 or 3 approaches in order to hit the runway early enough to land it.
Yeah, definitely. But this guy did it. Yeah. And that seems unlikely.
When he was described by the Pan Am Flight School as a shoddy or poor, at best.
A safety hazard.
A safety hazard.
The way they described it.
Yeah, and he's in the top 5%.
They said his piloting skills were shoddy and his English was worse. That was I like putting that.
It's just not very believable, is it? To be honest, that somebody that's not got the required skills to actually
90% of pilots couldn't have done this, and he did it first time. My pilot friend, who was a military pilot and now flies for BA, he said in straight away, "This is crap. This is not happening. There is no way just somebody that's just got in a flight simulator did this. He would almost certainly either miss the target or go into the ground like a dart."
Yeah.
They said there's no way, because you'd have to turn those systems off, and as soon as you started that spiral effect, he'd have lost control and the plane would have just gone into the ground. So it's
somewhere
all
near
broken
to
up
the target, probably within a couple of miles of the Pentagon. But yeah,
Daniela O'Brien, who worked at Dulles International Airport, is one of the flight control, the
FAA flight controllers or whatever. Yeah.
They all said, she said that everybody in the when this aircraft reappeared on the radar as it was starting this manoeuvre, they all believed it was a military fighter aircraft because of the manoeuvres it was pulling. None of them believed it could possibly be a 757.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what does that scream out at you? That this aircraft was doing stuff it shouldn't have been able to do. Flying in a straight line is easy.
Be interesting to get
doing this manoeuvre hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very hard. It'd be interesting to get an engineer to look at it that's capable of understanding all of the stresses and strains on the aircraft, and actually whether a 757 can actually produce that manoeuvre. Because I'm
probably certain the plane can. These planes are capable of amazing manoeuvre. They're really, really strong.
Big cumbersome passenger planes.
Yeah. The problem is you need a really skilled pilot or the computers to be on your side, which we'll go into in a minute.
Yep.
To be able to do it. Right? You can't. A normal pilot or even a decent pilot can't do this. The control system's not there. Yep. So if we're saying the plane, this pilot never did this, there's no chance. What are the possibilities then?
Remote control. It was computer guided.
To be fair, it wouldn't even be that hard.
No,
the plane has basically got those systems in place already. It'd just be a matter of programming them.
You'd have to overwrite the programming, the safety programming.
It would just be a matter of alterating.
That would be it. It would just be rewriting some lines of code.
It would use the GPS and it would fly along virtually inch perfect along a designated route.
Yeah,
it wouldn't even be that difficult.
Well, like we said, they already have the systems in place to fly pretty much on their own automatically without a pilot anyway. So it's just modifying that to take those safety controls away. That's pretty much it.
And I've thought about this as well. That if I was planning this, right, because we are going to talk about the missile in a second. We will. If I was planning an attack like this, I would want to remove as much human error as possible.
Yep.
I would want to remove. I would want it to look like what you wanted it to look like as much as possible, and that means you fly a plane into that building if you can. So, to do that, you remove the human error. You program the computers to the planes to fly exactly where you wanted them to fly. It'll look like what you want it to look like. It'll look like a plane was hijacked and flown into the buildings exactly where you wanted to. In reality, the pilots could have been still behind the yokes going, what the hell is going on? We've lost control, we've lost control. The people that we think are terrorists could be sat in their seats going, can I have a drink?
They could be, yeah.
I eating their peanuts as the plane flies into the building. And that is actually possible because these planes pretty much fly themselves.
Nah, 330-degree corkscrew, descending 2,200 feet. If you're not strapped in your seat.
No, I was being sarcastic about that. There are a lot of theories to say that this was a missile. Now, why would it be a missile?
Well, it's probably much easier for a missile to hit a target than it is a plane to do that incredible manoeuvre to get to ground level to hit the Pentagon in that way.
I would say that, yeah. If you weren't sure that you could do it, if you weren't, again, if I was planning this, if I wasn't 100% certain that plane would hit where exactly where I wanted to hit, because this, again, you only get one hit shot at this. You don't get another try.
No, definitely.
So then you'd use a cruise missile that you can fly in and hit to the inch where you want it to hit. Now, there's a lot of arguments to say that this building, the whole of the impact, wasn't big enough. That it was like a 120-foot hole, but it was a 144-foot plane. There's other things as well about the debris and.
I'd be more concerned about where the two 12-ton Rolls-Royce jet engines are.
Seem to disappear.
They seem to have been pulverised on impact.
Maybe
24 tons of steel.
Hey, steel melts.
I mean, the Twin Towers collapsed, but when we didn't see any steel there, did we?
No, exactly not. And this thing declined. There's someone saying that you see a lot of pictures of this little hole. It's only like 2 or 3 meters across, but that was one of the inner rings. And,
I was going to say that would be the inner ring being punctured, following the damage to the outer ring. But that's the point of having the ring structure, isn't it? Is to protect the inner rings from the outside. So the outer ring takes the brunt of the impact.
This building is built like a bomb shelter. It's built with a lot of concrete. It's strong.
Why wouldn't, if you were a terrorist attacking America, why wouldn't you choose the part of that building that would have the offices of the most important
down into
staff?
the middle of the building?
Well, I'd dive bomb it.
Yeah, dive bomb it.
Straight in the middle.
You'd think you'd do more damage that way, didn't you? What they actually did was actually quite hard. You could have just gone bam.
Because you're also then using the gravitational forces of the Earth to accelerate the plane.
Like a bomb.
You are like a missile then, coming straight from above. So why you would need to do that corkscrew manoeuvre to come in level
and hit where you wanted to hit? But only about 1/3 of the people were in this section that would be normal. Normally there'd be 2/3, at least 3 times this many people in the thing. But because it was still just completing the renovations, there's only about 1/3 of the people there. Basically, only the people you needed to kill to cover up this money cock-up,
missing
laundering cock-up, were there. There was no real much collateral damage. You basically wiped out this one group of people, and it did. When we talk about the money, again, a lot of conspiracy theories really jump on this, and it's not quite as true as some of those conspiracy theories make out, but still this slowed down the investigation massively, and actually you could argue it then allowed somebody else to step in, again, which we're going to go into another episode, but somebody else to step in to then basically control the investigation very closely. If there was a missile, there were eyewitnesses that saw this plane coming in on the roads around the Pentagon, all sorts. There were quite a lot of eyewitnesses that saw this plane. There was also an eyewitness I saw in a news report today. It was one of our lovely messages on Facebook today, in fact, who sent me a link for videos, which I'll try and add the link. And it was clips they don't want you to see. And one of them was a guy on the thing, it was actually at the Pentagon on the day going, this plane didn't hit. It didn't hit anywhere near. This started fires. It must have hit quite reasonably close, but there's fires, but that plane did not hit that building. There is nothing like enough damage. And he was there, sat in there basically at the time, and he was talking on the news report. So he didn't think it did. But one of the big problems for me is...
I'm not sure if I've seen that footage. You might have to
I'll show you. One of the big things for me is, how many videos have we got of the planes going into the Twin Towers? A fair few.
Oh, a lot. Hell of a lot.
How many videos have we got of a plane going into the Pentagon?
None. Except for the CCTV systems protecting the most important strategic military operating centre in the world that can give us 3-second still frames that don't actually show a plane.
You don't see anything. You see a white blob.
And then you see the explosion already.
It could be the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man coming in from the side.
Yeah, it could be anything. You don't... And for the state-of-the-art military building to not have...
It should be the most protected building in the world. Yeah. I mean, America, I'm sorry if you're American and you're watching this, you're not popular.
It's almost like the cameras going down for the Epstein suicide.
Or all the security cameras going down when Princess Diana died.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. It's all... The same thing keeps happening again and again with these conspiracies. Strangely enough, the cameras weren't working properly that day.
But even the camera that was working, though, the footage wasn't released straight away. It was released ages afterwards. The security footage from the petrol station over the road was confiscated immediately because they had security cameras. They're just a petrol station, they had security cameras.
It's a pretty common theme, that is, across not just the Pentagon, but all around New York. All around the Pentagon, and probably the same for people that saw what happened in Shanksville, where the plane went.
Yeah, most definitely.
Went down.
So I do have this logical theory that I actually think the plane would have been flown into the building, because that's the simplest way to do it for me. I would want, if I was planning this, I would want to fly the plane into the building, because it's the easiest way to do it. You're getting eyewitnesses, you're getting things. But these things with the CCTV being down, and you make a good point, that if you want to make sure you hit the target and you want to be absolutely certain you don't miss, you hit it with a missile, you don't hit it with a plane. Because hitting this damn building with a plane is actually quite hard.
Yeah, in the way that it's supposedly manoeuvred to hit it. I don't know if it'd be as difficult just to dive bomb it in a plane from, you know, 20,000 feet and just head straight down.
You wouldn't come down low and then skim towards the ground and knocking over lampposts and things. And again, you could argue that it can't have been a missile because the lampposts are knocked over.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking.
Yeah, but if you were planning ahead, you'd know.
By a plane, how would a missile couldn't have clipped these things? If a missile had hit any of these things on the way in, it explodes.
No, but you plan ahead on that though, don't you? You have little...
What, and you get somebody flying a plane around the week before, clipping lampposts?
you have little charges on the lamppost or something that go pop, 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 just as the missile comes in. You set it up, it would be like a film set.
Yeah, okay, all right, no, yeah, that would work.
Do you think when you're watching a movie and Godzilla goes, rah, and all things break, that Godzilla's really there going, rah? No, it's a CGI, and it's props and things, and they know it wouldn't be difficult to fake the damage that you'd expect. And to drop a few bits of airplane here and there, it wouldn't be hard. Because again, they've been planning this for a long time.
Yes. So, yeah. True.
So to say that, the other problem is the trajectory of all the eyewitnesses said the plane came in from one direction. The trajectory from the radar and stuff said the plane came in from a nearly 45-degree angle off that. So there's a big gap in that trajectory. One says it came one side of the
yeah, so that's pretty much like one saying it's coming from the west, one saying it's coming from the south.
Not far off. But you know where the pictures were taken from the guardhouse? Basically the trajectory from the radar and stuff suggested the plane would come to the north of the guardhouse, but the video shows it coming from the south, so it doesn't. We talk about the building.
Yep.
The other thing with this is, again, there's only 64 people on this plane, a plane that holds 180. So we talked about this in our third about a quarter, nearly, just over a quarter. So there weren't many people on this plane. Some of the people that were on board are interesting. There was a retired admiral. There was a BAE engineer. Barbara Olson was a TV reporter, bit of a Republican. She's on Fox News and things.
Oh, right, yes, I think.
But again, you'll see a lot of news. I've seen a lot of conspiracy videos that basically say this was just full of old spooks and things like this, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, there was a group of kids on a field trip on the aircraft and things like this.
It's difficult with the passengers, isn't it? In the sense that a lot of them were from suspicious occupations,
military backgrounds, BAE engineers.
Yeah, exactly. But then you've got to look at where the flight was coming out of as well, I suppose. Yeah. And you know, is there quite likely to be a higher level of military and
personnel,
and there just is. So it is a difficult one. Although I would like to look into the flight manifests and the passenger lists extremely carefully at some point, as I do think there may be a theme across there of of black budget.
If you're going to talk about that this plane didn't hit the Pentagon, we do have to ask, well, where's the plane? It was seen, so it flew over the Pentagon and then flew somewhere else, and that's possible. I mean, you have to ask, what the hell would they do? Where is that plane?
Well, there's a theory, isn't there, about the planes in an Air Force base and them all intersecting over the same Air Force base. And
Andrews.
I think it was Andrews, it might have been Edwards. Yeah. Edwards. And they believe that they were swapped out for military 757s that had been kitted up to look like passenger planes, painted, etc., and that had the remote control pods underneath in order to control them remotely, and there were no people on board at all.
And that was possibly, again, how the Twin Towers were hit. There's some certain images that make it look like there's some sort of pod underneath one of the wings, which wouldn't normally be there. And if that's the case, and then where are all the people?
Well, that's all. Yeah, I think the flight manifests and the people need to be scrutinised incredibly.
We know there is a lot of you know, the families of people that lost their lives on that day, though, because we know that, because I mean, one of the reasons why we got a commission report at all was because they lobbied like crazy to make sure they got one.
The families of the victims, yeah.
And we shouldn't forget as well that, you know, 64 people died on the plane, 125 people died at the Pentagon.
They're asking Kissinger some awkward questions, weren't they, as well, about his links to the Carlyle Oil Group.
They were amazing.
And is it Halliburton, the one that they then go in after they've destroyed a country and
exactly,
get the contracts to build it back up again?
There's a few bits of this that just don't add up.
No.
I've got pilots telling me they couldn't do this. Like I say, my friend was a military pilot and then he flew for BA, and he says he couldn't have done this.
I'm even pretty sure there's some stunt pilots that have come out and said, nah. Like, and they do like stunts in like, you know, small manoeuvrable aircraft and know what's possible in those. And then can also fly passenger planes and know that they cannot do anything near the manoeuvres that they do in the little Cessnas.
Even the air traffic controllers watching this aircraft said they thought it was a military aircraft. So what does a military aircraft do in its flyby before it fired the missile? Wouldn't necessarily need to do that because a cruise missile can be fired from hundreds of miles away.
No, it could be fired from the sea. It could be fired from
but they're saying that this plane was doing these manoeuvres, and we remember that this guy was described as having shoddy skills. He was described as that he would not progress on the course. We have to remember this. They were told him, you're never going to become a pilot. But he pulled off a manoeuvre that
professionals can't pull off that have been in the industry their entire life. Yeah. So that means that there are one or two things. Either he wasn't piloting the aircraft that did the manoeuvre that hit the Pentagon.
Yeah. Or he was always really, really lucky.
I'm not even going to go down that route. The probability of him being able to pull off that manoeuvre, no, it just seems so unlikely. It really does. Pure fluke, all right. He's got one in like whatever billion chance of pulling it off as a pure fluke. Again, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very plausible to me.
No CCTV is a big one as well.
Yeah.
The no CCTV is a big red flag. In that one of the most heavily guarded buildings on the planet, and they have no images of this. And why wouldn't they release it? You know, we'd seen all the other images. Why wouldn't they release it? And then the images that we have seen were released ages after, and you can't see a damn thing on them. So, and this is a conspiracy theory that won't go away. There are a lot of people that shout this from the rooftops, and you're not telling me that there was not security cameras on this building.
Also, a good. Those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat the mistakes of their predecessors. And given the fact that America's history is littered with false flag operations, you'd be safe to assume that this could well be one as well. And it has all the hallmarks of that, as we went through in our earlier episode. So again, there's just too many coincidences for me.
For me, this is the one that I'm convinced most by. And I always think there's always that shadow of doubt. In the Twin Towers, I have a lot of doubt. There's a lot of these things that are considered by the truthers to be definite proof, like these squibs and things like this. And I'm looking going, I think there's other explanations for that. Building 7, I'm pretty convinced by.
Yes.
And but there's still these elements of doubt. We get in the back of your head to think, it could have this was a horrific thing. This could have just been a badly designed building, and it could have happened. With the Pentagon, I do not see how this pilot did this. I don't see how he was able to hit just this ideal location. I could understand the Pentagon as a target. Totally.
Yeah, completely.
But the way they hit it doesn't make sense to me. So, if you got to say...
I'm pretty much on board with you on this. I struggle to believe anything from the official version of events from the Pentagon.
The Pentagon,
But I probably lean more to the other side than you on the other, on the Twin Towers, Building 7. I think when you combine it all together,
that's the problem, isn't it? Is when you start building it together.
There's just too many coincidences that put the probability of all these events coinciding in astronomical numbers, and again, you just can't.
But that is the thing we try to do with this channel. We try to have that two sides of this thing. I generally try to think of these things through, and then I'll give you my opinion. In my opinion, a plane hit the Pentagon, but Hani Hanjour was not flying it. That is my opinion. I think it was controlled either by remote control or the flight systems were programmed to fly to a longer flight path and fly into the Pentagon and exactly where they wanted to hit. That is my opinion. The evidence tends to support most of that opinion, but it's at the end of the day, you can't argue that it's not possible for this guy to have done it. It's possible. It's just massively unlikely. Yeah. Building 7 could have collapsed the way it did, but it's massively unlikely. You look at Building 7 and the Pentagon together and you go 2 massively unlikely events. On
the same day?
and we're not even thinking about the Twin Towers. It's, again, there's elements of that that are pretty bloody unlikely. And we're going to have these 3 events happen.
Yeah. Yeah, three buildings powderised by 2 planes, followed by another building hit by a plane performing an incredible manoeuvre.
This is too much.
Another plane that supposedly crashed in Shanksville that had a 13-mile debris field, which suggests it was shot down.
Yeah, because I mean the Let's Get 'Em flight. We could talk about that briefly because we probably won't do an episode on it in entirety.
Okay.
Do you think that I always believe that aircraft was shot down. I believe they thought it was flying towards the White House, which was potentially its target. They realised what was going on, and the military actually were able to do something. And they shot that plane down.
Yeah, that was the one that they actually perhaps got to, responded, and actually made it intercepted. Sorry, before it had reached its target.
The one thing I don't understand though is why did they lie about it? If they'd have released that information and said yes, the Pentagon had just been hit, the Twin Towers had just collapsed, this plane was flying towards the White House, and we shot it down. We didn't want to. We hate ourselves for doing it, but we did what we had to do. Nobody would have questioned that.
No, but they are still taking American citizens' lives by admitting shooting the plane down.
You think they were just so ashamed of what they'd done, they just lied? If you believe the commission report and everything else.
Said it crashed. Yeah, I mean, you can see that people protecting their own interests within the American government and military institutions. No one wants to come on and admit, yeah, we shot that one down and killed.
What I actually believe is
60 whatever passengers it was.
I think they did shoot it down.
Yeah.
And I actually think I think it was just part of the plan as well, because I think in our other episode we talk about why did the events happen the way they did, and I talked about how it felt like a movie, and this element at the end felt like that heroic third act.
Yeah, actually, I know. Yeah.
The passengers fighting back against the terrorists, and like, you will not take. You will not take us, and they sacrificed themselves in this heroic.
It's the Hollywood feel good.
Yeah,
that's what it's feel good at the end of the film, isn't it? Yeah, no, it does stink of that a bit, doesn't it?
I hope I'm wrong, but that's what it feels like.
Just feel a bit like that.
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Please again like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.